Wait, why is she throwing her cantaloupe in the dumpster? Turns out she's done guessing. You know the feeling. You're standing in the produce aisle staring at a mountain of cantaloupes, and you have absolutely no idea which one to pick. So, you do what most people do, you squeeze it a little, maybe give it a tap, and hope for the best. Sound familiar? You take it home, slice it open, and disappointment. It's pale, mealy, and tastes like nothing. Or worse, it's so far gone it's practically mush. That's a problem. Because a really good cantaloupe, one that's sweet, juicy, and fragrant, is one of the great pleasures of summer. And here's the thing, you can do better. In fact, in about 60 seconds, you can learn to identify a perfect cantaloupe with near-perfect accuracy. Today, we're going to teach you how. Over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through 5 simple, time-tested tests for choosing a cantaloupe. By the end of this video, you'll never bring home a bad one again. The first thing you need to look at is color. And this is the one rule that gets broken more often than any other, so listen closely. A ripe cantaloupe should be a warm, creamy color, something between golden yellow and light orange. If you see a lot of green or pale white, put it back. That melon was picked too early, and while cantaloupes do ripen off the vine, a green melon is a gamble you don't want to take. Now, a quick side note, there are different varieties. In the United States, the most common cantaloupe, often called a muskmelon, has that golden beige netted rind. In Europe, true cantaloupes, like the Churantais, have ribbed, pale green skin and look quite different. But the principles we're about to share work across all of them. So let's focus on the North American type and go from there. What you're looking for is a consistent, rich golden beige tone across most of the surface. The color should be uniform, and when you compare it to a green one side by side, the difference should be obvious. A good cantaloupe doesn't hide. It tells you it's ready. The second test is all about feel. And this is where things get interesting. A ripe cantaloupe has a very specific texture. The netting, those raised, corky lines that crisscross the rind, should be pronounced, almost rough to the touch. If the netting is smooth or barely there, that's a sign the fruit was picked too early or wasn't allowed to mature on the vine. But it's not just about the netting. You also want to feel the overall texture. A ripe cantaloupe should have some give when you press the blossom end, the end opposite the stem, but the rest of the rind should feel firm. If the whole thing feels hard as a rock, it's not ready. If it's mushy or soft, it's past its prime. The sweet spot is a melon that yields just slightly under gentle pressure, mostly at the stem end. That's the sign of a fruit that's at peak ripeness. Now we get to the structural test, and this one is a bit of a secret weapon. If you're buying a cantaloupe that still has a piece of stem attached, look at it carefully. In a ripe melon, the stem will often separate cleanly from the fruit. It's actually called full slip in the industry. If the stem is still firmly attached, it may have been picked too early. But the real trick here is the button, the blossom end, opposite the stem. Press your thumb gently into it. A ripe cantaloupe will have a slight give, almost like a soft spot, right in the center. If it's hard, the melon isn't ready. If it's too soft or feels hollow, it's overripe. This is one of those tests that takes a little practice, but once you've felt a few good ones, you'll know the difference immediately. It's the melon telling you it's ready to eat. All right, this next test is one you've probably seen before, but let's actually make it useful. First, the weight test. Pick up 2 cantaloupes that look about the same size and compare their weight. A heavier melon generally means more water, which means more juice and better texture. The heavier one is almost always the better choice. Now the sound test. This one has a bit of a split opinion. Some swear by it, others say it's unreliable. Here's the truth. A thump test can give you useful information, but it shouldn't be your only test. Tap the melon with your knuckles and listen. A ripe cantaloupe should have a deep, resonant sound, almost like a drum. An unripe melon tends to sound higher-pitched and hollow. An overripe one can sound dull or flat. It's subtle, but with practice, your ear can learn to hear the difference. Is it a perfect test? No, but combined with color, texture, and the stem check. The weight and sound tests are another layer of confidence that you're bringing home a winner. And now we come to the most important test of all, the one that separates the professionals from the amateurs. This is the test that never lies. Smell the cantaloupe. Specifically, smell the stem end, where the melon is attached to the vine. A perfectly ripe cantaloupe should have a sweet, floral, unmistakably musky aroma. It's fragrant, and if you're not sure what musky means, you'll know it when you smell it. It's that rich, honeyed scent that just says summer fruit. If you can't smell anything at all, the melon is unripe. If it smells sour, fermented, or musty, it's overripe and starting to go bad. This is the test that ties everything together. A melon that passes the color, texture, stem, weight, and sound tests should also pass the smell test. If it doesn't, trust the smell. It is the single best indicator of ripeness. So let's recap. To pick a perfect cantaloupe, 1. Look for a warm golden cream color with no green. 2. Feel for pronounced netting and a slight give at the blossom end. 3. Check the stem area and press the button. 4. Pick the heavier of two similar melons and listen for a deep, resonant thump. And 5. Smell the stem end. It should be sweet, floral, and unmistakably musky. Here's the crucial rule. Unlike some fruits, cantaloupes do continue to ripen after they're harvested, but only if you store them correctly. Leave a firm, unripe cantaloupe on the counter at room temperature for a day or two, and it will soften and develop more flavor. The smell test becomes more reliable as it ripens. Once it's ripe, move it to the fridge to stop the ripening process and enjoy it over the next few days. But remember, color and smell at the store are still your best indicators. The best cantaloupe is one that tells you it's ready, right there in the produce aisle. A good cantaloupe is sweet, juicy, and packed with nutrients, vitamin A, vitamin C, potassium, and antioxidants that support eye health, immunity, and heart health. But that's only true if you pick the right one. So next time you're in the store, skip the guessing game. Use the tests. Pick a winner, and never bring home a disappointing melon again. That's it. 5 tests, under a minute, and you're a cantaloupe expert. Got a tip we didn't mention? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to take a look at our Suggest Dinner Android app and share this video with someone who needs to stop squeezing every melon in the produce aisle. Thanks for watching. Now go pick a perfect cantaloupe.